Yeah, well, like we always talk about, and we talked about it in here last week, we want to win, bottom line in the story. And kind of the same thing, the good, I thought, like you said, no touchdowns. I think forcing 4 field goals, is obviously, a big deal. And blocking the field goal at the end of the game, I thought was really, really important. The bad, we've got to do 2 things better. We've got to figure out how to get more 3-and-outs, and we've got to get some takeaways. A large part of our success is creating the takeaways and being able to put our team in a position to score points off of those takeaways. And, we really weren't able to do that. We probably had 2 opportunities the other day to do it. And that's one of the things we got to improve. The ugly part is, like I said, we lost. It hurts, stinks. Nobody feels good about it. The awesome is that, everything's in front of us. We got a football game to play this week. We've got a good record. We've got great players. We've got a great room of young men. We've got a good staff. Everybody is still happy, you know what I mean? And so everything's still in front of us. And I think, like anything, knowing the moment, knowing the opportunity, I think all those things are really, really good. We had a lot of guys, stand out and play really well. I continue since, Sebastian came back from his injury to be impressed with Sebastian and how hard he's playing, how well he played the other day. Really for the second straight game, I thought our defensive line continued to play well. We've got some guys that are battling through some dings, and some injuries that are playing tough and making things happen. Really proud of Kent Robinson and how he played in that game the other day. And so anyway, like I said, there's a tough pill to swallow because you lost a football game, but there's a lot of good to come from it. And like we'll talk about today with our players, everything's in front of us.
This season, especially recently, it seems the run game has been the thing that hurts your defense. How do you sort of tighten that up heading into a game where they have to go to the backfield?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I think there's a lot of different ways to do that. I don't make any bones about just trying not to give up a lot of explosives, and you try to call the game to win the game. And I really felt like going into it and throughout the course of the game, not giving up explosives and not giving up, ball over our head was going to be really, really important. Obviously, La Tech, historically, with Sonny in particular, is an air raid team and a passing first team. They got in a couple of different, bigger sets or, with more tight ends or more offensive linemen the other day, and I still kind of played coverage to some of those because I was more nervous about, giving up a big shot over our head in those scenarios. So you play with a lighter box, you give up a 5-yard run. You play with a lighter box, you give up a 7-yard run. But ultimately the ball doesn't go in the end zone. So there's kind of a give and take with all of that. And, I could have made some better decisions and some better choices when it came to some of those situations the other day. We certainly got to tackle better. We certainly got to continue to work on our leverage and our angles and things like that. But there were some real bright spots of tackling in space where we did a nice job. So we've got to continue to figure out how to do those things and be able to execute. But you're certainly trying to make sure you take something away. We blitz, we feel like we're taking something away. And when we're in a run game mode, we feel like we're trying to take something away. But there's a give and take with all of it.
Feels like they go hand in hand too. You need to be able to stop the run game, put them in situations where they need to throw in spots they don't want to, which creates more turnover possibilities because you put the ball in the air. So
Yep.
It starts with stopping that run, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think at the end of the day, how do they beat you the quickest? And I know we've talked in here before just about what the personnel is and what the philosophy is of the offense. The hard part about coaching defense, playing defense, all those things is you've got to be able to adjust from week to week, and you've got to be able to have a big enough package that allows you to, do things that are new and still be able to have answers to that. And so I think it does for sure. But in the same breath, like I said, you want to be in a position to where you can take things away, and if you feel like you can play through it. Now, again, I may be making wrong decisions. I may be not putting together a package, or I may not be able to call the things I need to in the right moments. At this point, we are playing a lot different style than we did my first 2 years here. First 2 years, like I said, it was very, very blitz-oriented, very pressure-oriented, and we gave up more explosives. We're trying to do a better job of not giving that up and not giving up as many points. A lot of that has to do with the personnel we have, and still being able to pressure when we need to. And so, at the end of the day, we got to find a way to win the game. That's my job. Is trying to figure out how that happens in the game and throughout the week, and I've got to do a better job of it.
Sticking with that run game here, obviously Liberty coming up, great running back, and
Mhm.
going to have to keep up the same kind of energy and fix those mistakes from last week. What are you kind of seeing from them, and maybe how it can be a little bit similar to what you saw?
Yeah. So Liberty does a great job. Jamie Chadwell's there as head coach. Jamie's, been 5 different stops. I want to say North Greenville in 1, Delta State in 1, Charleston Southern in 1, Coastal Carolina in 1, and obviously he's done a great job at Liberty. And Jamie's done a great job of transitioning too. He was under center, flexible and option guy that's been able to kind of take these really talented quarterbacks and get in the gun and apply it and make themselves a little bit more spread and double option, and still have the ability to get into some of the triples at the same time. So I think Jamie and his staff do a great job and have for a long time. Liberty will be a big challenge. Good football team, obviously. Number 1 rushing attack in the country a year ago, top 5 in rushing this year. Points scored, obviously, in a New Year's Day bowl game a year ago, all those things. And I think at the end of the day, like any good program, they've got a really good quarterback. The quarterback is the guy. Plays really well, throws it well, runs well, creates well, and he can kind of do it all. And so, he obviously stands out to you. The consistency and the conciseness of the offensive line and the running backs coaches, or the running backs, stand out. Anytime you can run the ball, have that big a volume, and still be able to have all those guys on the same page, I think they do an excellent job. Receivers are good players, talented guys that can hit home runs, get the ball down the field, and like a lot of teams that are based kind of in the option, you look up and you spend all week, like I said, kind of practicing for the option and the run game, and then they threw seven passes over your head and scored 28 points, and so we've got to be ready to prevent all those things. Like I said, they do a great job on offense. It'll be a huge task for us. Our players will know what that is, and I think we'll be ready and prepared.
You mentioned Ken Robinson. He really has seemed to stand out.
Yeah.
At times all year, but here recently, he really seemed to be making an impact. Did it just get comfortable in your defense, or what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, well, Kent, like I said, has really kind of stepped in week 2, as a starter and a player for us, and Kent's done an amazing job. Kent is great people, comes from a great family, and was looking for an opportunity to come in and compete and play, and he's done that. He's earned that. I think, as the season continues to progress, he just continues to get better. The old saying is, if you're not talking about a corner, it usually means he's doing pretty well, because the ball's not going his way, or big plays aren't happening towards him. And so I think Kent just continues to improve, particularly in the passing game, the skill set. I think Jason Martin does an unbelievable job, our corners coach, getting those guys prepared and ready each week. Kind of feels like every year we've come out of camp with an injury to what we felt like would be a starter at corner, and had to kind of make some adjustments early in the season. And I think Jason's done a great job 2 years in a row of getting those corners ready to play. And obviously you see that between, Anthony Johnson and how well he's played the last 2 years. Upton, has been at that position as well. And now what you're seeing with Kent, getting him ready as well. So, like I said, just really proud of his growth, really proud of his maturity, and him continuing to get better each week. And we needed him to, and he's done that.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank y'all.